represent the Teal family in the unfortunate shooting of Susan Teal by the Indian River County Sheriff's Office. I have a brief statement that I'd like to read, and then we'll have a very brief period of some questions and answers, hopefully. So here's the statement. Dr. Dudley Teal has been an emergency room doctor here on the Treasure Coast for more than 30 years. In that time, he's treated citizens, policemen, criminals in fulfilling his duties as a physician. But 9 days ago, he found himself in the middle of an emergency that he wasn't expecting and that he couldn't handle. He came home to find his beloved wife, Susan, who had been married to for 40 years, desperate and suicidal. He thought he was lucky to have been at home in time to save her. After dinner that night, Susan locked herself in the bedroom located upstairs. Dr. Teal got tools, removed hardware from the door, got inside and found her in the bathtub with her wrist cut and bleeding. He tried to reason with her and managed to get her out of the tub, through the bedroom, and into another common living room area upstairs. Susan was not thinking clearly. She was inconsolable and still suicidal. Dr. Teal called his daughter, Sarah, who immediately called 911, thinking this was the safest thing she could do. Sarah fully explained the situation to 911 dispatch. She asked for an ambulance, not the police. Sarah clearly stated her mother was suicidal, had tried to kill herself, and was probably under the influence of drugs and/or alcohol. In her wildest nightmare, Sarah couldn't have believed that first responders would shoot and kill her mother. Sarah thought, like most of us would in this situation, that if she explained the situation to 911, she would get properly trained first responders out to help to save her mother's life. There was never any indication whatsoever that Susan was a threat to anyone other than herself. Susan was 62 years old, 5'2", and weighed 118 pounds. When Deputy Lozada arrived, he knew this was a suicide call, and Susan was probably under the influence. This can be heard clearly on radio dispatch recordings. When Lozada arrived, Dr. Teal left Susan's side upstairs and ran downstairs to let him in. Dr. Teal told the deputy she had a knife and told him Susan was upstairs. Again, the threat was suicide only to herself. As Lozada walked up the stairs, Dr. Teal followed, stopping about halfway up the stairs. Dr. Teal heard the deputy say Susan's name as he entered that living area. Since we don't have a statement from Lozada, we have to rely on what Sheriff Lohr has told us for the rest of the story. In his press conference, Sheriff Lohr said this was a single shot, this was a split-second decision, that the deputy had no choice but to use lethal force, and that Susan lunged at Lozada with a butcher knife as he ran up the stairs and entered the bedroom. But we've had the audio transmissions from the radio frequencies examined by professionals that tell a different story. This did not happen in a split second. Susan screamed, "Go ahead and shoot." And then again, "Go ahead and shoot." And Lozada had time to say she's got a knife, and then he said something like, "Don't come closer." The tape, curiously, is then redacted for the next 8 or 9 seconds. And after that redaction, we hear shots fired, need EMS. So we know this was not, as Sheriff Lohr characterized it the next day to you. Not a split-second decision. Not one gunshot, but 3 at close range. Not Deputy Lozato's only choice. All of this raises serious questions. 1, why has the sheriff redacted the most critical audio portions? And 2, why is the sheriff's office investigating this case when Sheriff Lohr has already publicly exonerated Lozano? We are not here today asking for criminal charges against the deputy. What we are asking for is fairness, transparency, and integrity. But more importantly, for this grieving family and the community at large, isn't it time we move to intelligent policing? Isn't it time we have deputies trained to handle these cases like the negotiator and less like Rambo? Isn't it time for policies and actions by our public servants? Yes, the police work for us and are accountable to us, that instill confidence in the communities they serve, that when accidents and mistakes happen, and they will happen, they will be investigated fairly and won't be covered up and shrouded in secrecy. Why are body cams such a low priority in the sheriff's budget? They're not even planned for 2018. We see growing mistrust in local communities and communities throughout the state and nationally. We the people are not stupid. We the people don't want officers investigated by their own employers who have a stake in the outcome. We the people don't want the same prosecutors presenting officer shooting cases to grand juries when these same prosecutors rely on local officers in their other criminal prosecutions. This is basic fairness, transparency, and integrity. This is due process. The police need our support, and we want to give them our support. All around the country, they must earn back the respect that's been eroded by far too many incidents where cover-ups and silence is business as usual in law enforcement. Let me be clear. Susan Teal wanted to die that night. Her family desperately tried to stop her. Ultimately, she was successful in committing suicide by cop. Thank you. So that is the statement. If there are any questions for me, Dr. Teal at this time has elected not to make a personal statement. He's still grieving, but there may be a time in the future when that's appropriate.
What do you think happened in those 8 seconds?
Well, I'm not ready to jump to conclusions like the sheriff was. We'd like to know what the evidence is. So we'll wait until the evidence comes in.
You have his history, Deputy Lozato's history of misconduct at the Internal Affairs Office.
Well, we don't have his full history. We were only on the case as of yesterday, but if you just do an online search, you can see that this is a fairly new officer who I believe did have disciplinary infractions against him earlier this year. So we'll be looking into that.
There was an incident where the son had assaulted Susan Teal earlier that week. Do you think maybe that could have led her to attempting suicide?
Absolutely. That was probably a major factor in her inconsolable bout of depression, which is understandable.
Is there a civil lawsuit coming?
We don't know. We're not going to put the cart before the horse. We're going to let the facts play out, see what the evidence is, and then make determinations.
Why would you be hired if there's not a civil lawsuit coming?
To find the truth. Lawyers are many times engaged in an investigatory process to find the truth. And when we have the signs and signals of lack of transparency, who better to get to the truth than a lawyer?
As for the recordings you received, you mentioned earlier in your statement, will those become public anytime soon?
They are public. You've got them. And if you listen closely, you'll hear...
I'm talking about the unredacted ones that you're talking about.
Well, I don't know. You'll have to ask the sheriff about the redactions. We've spoken to his office, and he's supplied us the same thing he supplied you, the media.
In a situation where you've got a crisis, you've got loved ones who feel they can't handle it, how is it, to expect somebody to come in from the outside and handle it differently? If it was too much for a loved one to handle, it was obviously a dangerous situation to begin with.
Right. It was a danger for Susan, and the proper training for a deputy's office or any law enforcement office is to handle the call based upon the information they get. There was full disclosure that this was an attempted suicide and that controlled substances or substance abuse may be involved. And so you don't approach that like a SWAT situation where you have a barricaded shooter. There has to be some, what I call, intelligent policing involved. And in this case, it does not appear that there was intelligent policing.
You yourself called it suicide by cop. In suicide by cop situations, the person who is attempting that is usually threatening the officer with violence.
That's right. But that is something that can be anticipated, and intelligent policing would recognize that before the officer puts himself in immediate harm's way. You establish a dialogue. You try to get some communication with the person to assess the situation to see if it's a true threat or whether it's a feigned threat. People in those situations don't really want to harm the police officer. They're doing it to get a bullet. And this is not a new phenomenon. This has been well documented since the late 90s. There have been papers. There's a recent documentary on suicide by cop. So this is something that law enforcement must be aware of, because as the opioid crisis heightens, and it will get worse before it gets better, you're going to have more and more suicide calls, and police need to know how to handle it, or we're going to have more situations like this.
How is the doctor version different than the sheriff version of what happened once, I guess, the officer was going upstairs? I mean, like you said the sheriff said it was one shot. I assume the doctor said it was 3. He's the only other witness there.
Well, we know it's 3 because there were 3 shell casings found in the house and on the evidence receipt. So we know there's discrepancies. We know that there is unaccounted time on that radio tape. And we know that there was a period of time between when Dr. Teal last saw Lozado go to the top of the stairs and the shooting that he heard. So what happened in those 20 to 30 seconds? This was not, as Sheriff Lohr explained or tried to characterize in his news conference, that the moment Lozado got to the top of the stairs, he was attacked and he had no time to react other than to draw his weapon. That is clearly not what happened.
What would you have preferred to have seen happen that night? What would have been a better outcome?
I'm not a professional, but I can use common sense, and common sense would be for a police officer who knows a person has a butcher knife, not a gun, to be able to take such measures and wait for professionals, backup professionals, who know how to handle this situation, who have more experience, to understand that they're dealing with a mental health issue and not a threat to another person. It's a vastly different situation when the person who has a weapon and a knife is not threatening someone else. There's no reason to increase the escalation of event. If you talk to any police professional, they will tell you that the key is to de-escalate the scenario. And in this case, it looks like this was escalated by the officer essentially approaching a person who was erratic and known to be erratic and put himself in harm's way to then be in a position where deadly use of force is justified. That is not how policing, that is not how intelligent policing should work.
Guy, why are we in St. Lucie County?
For you. for the reporters. More convenient for more people to know. Up and down the Treasure Coast, people are wondering what's going on in this case. This is not just about Vero Beach. This is about St. Lucie County, about Palm Beach County, about the state of Florida, and about the United States. The issue is about policing, transparency, and the proper investigations of these things, because we as the people are fed up with those law enforcement agencies investigating their own and then expecting us to just accept that it was a fair process.
So what is the next step? I know you said right now you're not filing anything and just want the truth. So what is the next step for you to take?
We will continue to make requests. We'll wait for the process to play out. We have no control over that. We may contact FDLE or the governor's office to try to get a fair investigation underway. But as we move forward, we'll let you know.
Is this the same Deputy Lozada that was on a call with Deputy Jones with the police brutality beating of Mr. Council Bryant December 2016?
I don't know. I've got to get his personnel file, but that's public record.
And Lieutenant Levon and Sergeant Garrett?
I'm sorry, I just don't know.
And this whole thing happened within a matter of seconds, you said, or?
Well, we believe that from the time Lozada was on the stairs to the time of the gunshots was around 30 seconds.
And what did the doctor think was going to happen when the deputy got there? What did the doctor think was going to happen?
That a professional was on the scene and would do everything that intelligent policing would require to try to save his wife's life.
Does the Indian River County Sheriff's Office have a negotiator for situations like this?
Well, if they don't, there's something wrong, because I think in the news conference you heard him say that suicide calls are very commonplace now. So to not have a negotiator, or at least officers or high-ranking command staff that's trained specifically for these situations, would be a dereliction in duty and a failure to service the community they serve.
Have there been calls to the home previously for similar situations?
Well, I don't know about a similar situation. There have been a number of calls to the house. I haven't been given the information yet on those specifics, but you know, we'll have to see how that plays in. All right, thank you.
Can you identify who's with you here?
Yeah, this is Dr. Teal, and this is Connor Teal, Susan and Dr. Teal's son.
Connor?
Yes, it is.
Connor, can we get your age, please?
27. Well, Doc, there's nothing the doctor can say to us at all at this point? I mean, just without getting too legal?
Maybe about his wife, maybe about who she was, the type of person she was.
Well, can we put a mic on you first?
I'm gonna need some help, guys.
Okay.
Anyone available? Yeah.
Just don't talk about it.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Susan and I have been married for 40 years, and like all the families, we had our ups and downs, but she was wonderful, and we had just recently moved into this house, and I switched my job so I didn't have to work as much, and we spent lots of time together, and we'd sit on the back porch in the morning, have coffee, and watch the birds and bird song stuff. That's what we did. And then she would go to the gym and work out, and I would go walk, and then we'd get back around 1:30 and we'd go just spiraled out of control and just got worse and worse. And then some other events occurred, and here we are.
Thank you. And that'll be all for now. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
Hey, Sheriff, we have a question about why your office, your intelligence division, is investigating private citizens for criminal investigation that happen to be activists that are overseeing your department. Why would you have your intelligence division investigate private citizens? We have done...
For life hating so much.
Sir, we don't hate anyone. We love freedom and we love American people. And government is out of control. That's why you're seeing such a revolt nationwide. Why can't you just answer, why is Susan Edwards, your intelligence division, investigating private citizens? This should not happen.
Are you here to apply for a job?
Possibly I might be applying for a job, but that's irrelevant to my question. Why would you ask that question?
Well, enjoy the fair.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Excuse you?
Excuse me, sir.
So those of you that haven't
Wow.
been on a bike before, we're
Sheriff's
just
getting a little too pushy.
is
You
the
work
hard
for
part
us, Sheriff.
in
Just
keeping
keep that in
up.
mind. At one time we respected you, but not with that type of attitude.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I found that I had to make a change this ending on my videos, letting you know about the channel and fair use laws, you know, how we can report on other people's reporting and how it's good, how it's bad, etc. But you guys can look it up yourself. It is legal. It's in there. But like I've told you before, that I've been cut off from making money on YouTube for 4 years. It's really weird, bizarre, but they cut the money off, but they said you can keep the channel, and now YouTube makes all the money. And if you get bored, plug it into Social Blade website, and you'll see that they are making a huge amount off the site. Right now it's at 63 million views, 53,000 subscribers, almost 3 million views a month. You know, trying to wake people up, and I make nothing. In fact, I got a customer that's ex-congressman. He said if I could ever find a lawyer, sue YouTube on it. But because this is nuts. 4 hours a day, and to save America. You know, but at the same time, it's worth it. Look at what our founding fathers did. They died for this country. So, but getting back to the money part, this is why I'm redoing the video. Is my dream of everyone giving $1, and it's going to be $53,000 a year, or if they did Patreon, which you know, can be monthly. That is not working. That'd be great if it did. Nothing is perfect. And I appreciate the people that do donate, you know, what they can on PayPal. And there again, I'm letting you guys know that is not much. Is, you know, monthly is, oh my god. So anyways, yes, you cannot live on it. It's very, very, very low amount. But the dollar things, I do appreciate that. But when I first said everybody give $1, that's not working. I'm just I'm just letting you guys know it's, yeah, that's that dream. Everybody gives $1. 53,000 subscribers, it's not working. So yes, if you can give more than that, you know, I appreciate it. Like I said, you know, I'm in a unique situation where, you know what, we're already debt free, and I'm not rich, but with the little business that we have, I am able to do what I am able to do 45 hours a day, you know, letting you guys know what's going on. In 4 years, I've did the whole thing myself. 12,000 videos on there. I literally get emails where people are like, holy crap, I never knew it was this bad. And it is this bad, and it's getting worse every day because we have the internet, we have cell phones, we have cameras everywhere now, and it's just disgusting what's going on. And then, as you guys know too, now we got Trump, we got Jeff Sessions doing a war on drugs, and now he wants to go after the forfeiture laws again. It's just unfreaking real. So if you can give more than that dream of everybody giving $1, yeah, that old video, that's not working. They're not, they're just not. So anyways, if you can give more than that dream is not working. Hardly anybody is giving. There you go. So that's why I'm remaking the video. If you can give more than that, that would be great. And there again, like I said, the Patreon's there. There is some people on there that are starting to give, but there again, it's very, very low. And like I said, I don't want to get rich off of that. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because, you know, it's still so stinking corrupt. It's not even funny. My court case that I'm going to be paying out of my pocket myself with Charlotte County's coming up. They illegally looked me up and then posted all my information on LEOAFFAIRS website. They basically doxed me, however you want to say that. I forget what the word is, and they outed me, man. And that information on that site went out to 500 sheriffs, deputies, people that work at the jail, etc., etc., etc. So, yeah, it is very, very scary, but we're going to do a federal case, 1983 case, violating freedom of speech. We have 17 cameras in the house now. We got 2 cameras in the car. I always carry a camera plus a cell phone. A lot of people are highly recommending I get a vest now. If I could, if the wife would let me, I would run for sheriff. We are trying to push the thing nationwide right now, where just to mix it up and to get the topics out there is register to run for sheriff, NPA, no party affiliation, as a write-in, and that is completely free, and you can participate in the elections. And there's a lot of stuff. We got a guy, James McLinnis in Pinellas County, Tampa, who almost won. He experienced the corruption himself. The story is unbelievable. Look him up. It's mind-blowing what they did. It pissed him off. He is very, very smart. He has way more money than I did. He ran for sheriff at the last 3 months last year in 2016 and almost won. He got all of the black vote. And the reason why he did that is because he ran in, I will not bust, we're in Florida, I will not bust anybody for weed anymore unless it's an ungodly huge amount, like pounds. And then he also ran in, no more victimless crimes, no more of this freaking road pirate bull crap. And then he was going to cut the budget by 30%. And when you think about that, you can. If you stop the road pirates, you can get rid of a bunch of people. Gone. So, the wife has been saying, yes, I can, yes, I can't. So I don't know. We're trying to find somebody that can do it because I am busy doing this anyways. But, so I'm making a video, like I said, that $1 a month from everybody, you know, for 53,000 subscribers, that is not working. I'm just letting you guys know. Absolutely give way more than $1 a month. If you can, I appreciate anything. By the way, remember too, when you give that, PayPal takes like freaking 15 to 20%, so it's even worse than that. But, and there again, like I'm letting you guys know, it's way, what I get is very, very low. Appreciate it, but it is very, very low. Can't live on it. I'm just, you know, I'm working, and that's what I'm working on. And that court case is going to cost a buttload of money. That's federal court. Just the filing fees and the depositions that we're going to be doing with this corrupt cop. So there's another reason to give. We are going to be doing a deposition with this very corrupt. He was in a drug squad. He is a bad guy. He's on steroids. We heard steroids are rampant here. That's why their attitude is so bad. And we are going to get him on video, and it will be on YouTube. So that case alone is $5,000 just to bring it to court, and that's my money out of my pocket. So there's another reason to give, and give way more than $1 if you can. So keep that in mind. This is the new video, and I see, God, I talk a lot. It's already 7 minutes, but had to make it just to let you know that $1 a month from everybody is not working. They're not doing it. So if you can give more than that, please. So thanks. Keep it up. Share, like, subscribe, tell your friends, send me your videos on corruption, and I'll post it.